Good evening. I'm recording this from a hotel, and I want to give my early reactions to Superman 2025, the brand new movie that came out. This is coming out this weekend, and I'm gonna be upfront. I loved it. I think this was. I've watched over the last couple months as I knew the new Superman was coming out. I've been watching I watched Lois. I watched the full series of Lois and Superman, or Superman and Lois. I watched Lois and Clark from the early '90s. I watched Superman the animated series. I watched Smallville. I watched the Smallville a year or two ago. I've watched a lot of the animated. I've watched the Snyder movies. I did not get the Superman Returns, but I did rewatch the Christopher Reeve Superman's films, and even read some of the graphic novels and things like that to get ready for this. And it just does everything well. I heard a lot of talk in some of the reviews, some of the reactions, that it was really messy plot-wise, and I didn't feel that. It actually flowed like a graphic novel. So if you're familiar, James Gunn in his interviews has talked quite a bit that he made use of All-Star Superman and All-Star Super. So it's kind of the way All-Star Superman is one that kind of goes from one plot point to another, building upon one another. And it's kind of playing into the whole that, Lex Luthor scheming and planning and all that stuff. And that is also what's going on in this film. And it goes very, very much in line with that. And by the way, this is going to be a spoiler-free. Nothing I'm saying should be too terribly shocking. Although it did have some great cameo appearances. Get ready to see some of those. I won't say who or what. The whole cast does well. This is one of the reasons why James Gunn. I know right now with Superman, there's a lot of infighting and debating between James Gunn and Zack Snyder, and I definitely think that there's issues with the Snyder films. I think visually his films were stunning, just from a visually standpoint. And I think even as good as Gunn's films was, I don't think it's as good visually as Snyder's films were. But in terms of story, in terms of character development, in terms of actually giving us somebody that feels like Superman, he does a lot better. When I say that, that's not a criticism of Henry Cavill. That's a criticism of Zack Snyder. Cavill did, from an acting standpoint, he was Superman to me. He embodied Superman. But from a writing standpoint, he didn't embody Superman. With this one, with Corn Sweat, it's both the writing and the acting's got it down. This is Superman. He's got the look, he's got the feel, he's got the vibe, and he does have a little bit of Henry Cavill to him. And so it kind of feels like it's someone honoring him. Lois Lane, I gotta look up the name of the actress. I don't have my computer here or anything, but she hits it out of the park. The chemistry between her and Clark are great. It's like I said, this is the thing with James Gunn, is he doesn't waste characters. And every character brought something. Every single one. There wasn't one that I said, oh, there's that stupid character again. You never get that. And that's true of his Guardians of the Galaxy films. And here we're seeing it again. He's very good at ensemble acting, ensemble casts. And like I said, I don't know what really to gripe about. There is humor in it, but it's not quite it's not the same type of humor as Guardians of the Galaxy. Not really. but there is humor. I think it's organic humor. It's relational humor, and I think it works well. And I know people get mad when there's humor, but I'm like, people make jokes. There's humor in life. This movie, it's hopeful, it's joyful. Is it woke, as it's been charged and criticized by certain people? There's definitely a top theme of immigration in it, but so it is a good reminder. Remember, wherever you stand on how our immigration laws, don't forget that every immigrant is a human being, right? I mean, that's a pretty simple thing. Show kindness, compassion, empathy, things like that. I mean, that's a simple thing. I don't know why that's considered woke or controversial. We should all seek desire to be kind, caring, compassionate towards others. There's also a little bit of political undertone in regards to, I think in particular, the events. And I think some people think it's alluding to Israel, but I think it's much more likely alluding to Ukraine and Russia, because a lot of what's going on has a lot stronger parallel to that conflict than it does with the Israel conflict. And the thing is, some people are like, I know some people will say, I don't like it when there's messages in movies. I'm like, I'd say about 90% of movies have some type of worldview being communicated. The ones that don't are like your hardcore comedies, like Dumb and Dumber, for example. I think you're going to be pretty hard pressed to find a really good, really deep message in that film. Same true with like most of your Mel Brooks type movies, but most movies have some type of message, and Superman has a legacy of that too. You know, you read, I mean, Superman was created in the Great Depression. He was created to be a message of hope. I mean, there's a reason why he's supposed to be this mild-mannered reporter. The way he looks and dresses like so many people. He grew up on the farm, moved to the city, which was the lived reality of so many people. And yes, the theme of him being an immigrant, that was also kind of embodied in the comics. Somebody who came from a different place is adjusting to this new life and new world. This was the lived experience of many people in the 1930s and 1940s. I mean, even my own grandparents were immigrants. I mean, they came here from Finland. And so what you see in Superman was very much, in the comic books, he was very much reflecting the lived experience of much of the United States. Was you had a lot of immigrants, people from different parts of Europe who immigrated here. Many of them started on the farm and then they moved into the city, and they're facing the devastation of the global Great Depression. And that's, by the way, if you ever watched the original Superman film, they have a nice little intro that kind of points to that. So it should not be surprised that there's messages in a Superman film, because it's been there. There's been messages in there. Not to mention, the original comic also has a little bit of a parallel to the story of Moses out of the book of Exodus. And Superman 1 and 2, Superman the movie and Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve, there's very strong Christian undertones in it. I don't think you really get any of that in this one. And I think that's okay, because they've done that quite a few times. As long as they don't go to the anti-Christian route, I don't think they did that. I think they did just. I honestly believe there's not a lot I could take out of this movie. And I think, oh man, this is horrible. I mean, is it the greatest movie I've ever seen? No. Is it the greatest superhero movie I've ever seen? No. I'd say Logan is still probably my favorite superhero movie of all time. Spider-Man 2 is kind of up there as well. But I'd actually say it might be the best Superman movie I've seen. I don't know how it compares with Superman 2, the Donner cut, because I kind of coming into this, probably my favorite Superman movie was the Donner cut of Superman 2. Now, note, it's not better than the animated stuff. There's some animated films that are way better. But here's the thing. And speaking of the other films, the original name for this movie was supposed to be Superman Legacy. And I really, really do wish they would have stuck with that, because I do believe to some level, and granted you kind of have to watch to notice it, but to a certain degree, that is what's going on in this film. It is embodying the legacy of the Superman franchise. At the very, very beginning, you get greeted by an image of the first drawn Superman comic. And then you hear the kind of like a jazzed up version of John Williams' score from the original film, which is so iconic. And one thing I have to give credit to it, compared to to Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, is it did not shy away from the John Williams film score. Don't get me wrong, Hans Zimmer did a great score for the movies, but totally abandoning the Superman theme, I don't think that's actually that great of a decision, because it is the most iconic superhero theme there is that particular one. And to try to run away from it, to try to ignore it, especially in the context of the films, is just kind of, I think it's not a great idea. So I like that he incorporated that. The outer design of the Fortress of Solitude looks very, very similar to what we remember from the original Superman films. There's even a cameo. It's kind of a blink and you miss it type, but there is a cameo from Christopher Reeve's son in the film. There are aspects of it, I think, it is honoring the Snyder films. There's just certain vibes to it, and this is something I kind of got this feeling when I was watching the movie, or when I was watching the trailers, and this is in the midst of me also watching all these Superman stuff, is that it does feel like that it is what Snyder was claiming to be building to. Because, like, if you watch Man of Steel, it's supposed to be all pointing to this very eventual, hopeful Superman, but we never got it. Who's to blame for that? We could get into debates and discussion for that, but we never got the hope-filled Superman. Now, we did have some of the conflict between the people and Superman, like we got, admittedly, that it did have some of the plot with Lex Luthor was very similar to the Batman v Superman one, and I don't have a problem with that. It was a similar plot, but it had its own little spin and twist to it, so that's why I'm okay with it. And the thing is there's a brighter way. I liked the way they dealt with it. They dealt with the conflict with it. And I say that very well aware that the Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut does a better job of exploring a little bit of Superman's psyche. But I think this does better, and a lot of that has to do with the way they write Lois, and she's able to bring out a lot of his humanity. Same thing, and this is the thing, is like the whole thing is he saves everything, even though, like, it's been talked about in some of the reviews where he takes the point to go and rescue a squirrel, and I mean, this is, and the use of children throughout the film. I mean, he's supposed to be a Superman that kids can look up to. And I don't think we've had that. I love Nathan Fillion's his Guy Gardner. I Mr. Terrific was awesome in this. I mean, there's just I mean, you kind of wish you'd get a little bit more of Hawkgirl. She did good with what she had, but she didn't have a lot of time. It's I mean, it's a great movie, and I hope if you're a Superman fan and you get past whatever hangups you have with Zack Snyder, what happened with the Snyderverse, if you could get past any hangups that you think that maybe it might be woke, and yeah, there might be messages in there, maybe you might disagree with here and there, but at the core of it, the heart of it, who's going to disagree with doing the right thing? Kindness, compassion for people, no matter who they are. Who's going to really fight against that? I mean, a lot of it is just humanity. So, have a good day. Have a blessed night. I hope you enjoy it the way I did. You may disagree, you may not, whatever. But hope you enjoy it. God bless.